Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ROCCAT StarCraft II Legacy of the Void Championship here at DreamHack Winter. Unsurprisingly, Parting takes the last match. He's pretty based out of all of our players, I would say. You guys agree?
Fairly based, Nathan.
Fairly based, mate.
Quite based.
Okay, well, now that we've gotten that out of the way, hopefully you guys have been having an awesome time watching this Legacy of the Void action. It is the first offline Premier tournament we have ever had. Please keep your tweets coming as well. Make sure if you want to win some free swag from our sponsor, ROCCAT, to use the hashtag #SetTheRules as well as hashtag DHW15. Most of you were reasonably satisfied with those pylon memes. What did you guys think about those?
Pretty dank.
Well, I think that's
Really?
all that needs to be said.
What have you done, Nathan? You've corrupted.
You've made Snoot turn into a copy of yourself.
That's how it works.
It spreads.
It spreads. Eventually, you guys will be introducing yourselves as Kappa HD.
No, not for me. I don't know about you.
Not my thing, Nathan.
Not my thing, mate.
You can't run forever.
From what? The memes?
I'm just surprised you got swallowed whole. It was like little Nathan just got overwhelmed by a tidal
Yeah,
wave.
man. It didn't take long for you.
Oh, man. It's a good life. We have the TVZ coming up, by the way. Semper will be playing against Elazer, and he put up a pretty good show against Solar. In my eyes, if he plays the same level, like he should be able to do this, no? So you sing now.
Nice.
I think Elazer's gonna...
A
know what I mean?
laser has always had really strong CVT,
Yeah.
so I'm going for the European here.
Yeah,
I'm going for the Zerg.
I know there's 3
I know it's
Europeans to
cliche.
1 North American here, and we are a little bit biased, but let's be honest, man. Europe's been better than
Ben,
North America in a
you
long
know,
time.
you speak English natively. You're close enough to being American, you know, Semper, right?
I mean, same with Apollo. Like, despite being Welsh, he's still a human, Nathan. Just
And-
saying. But, like, no, Elazer is he's actually very, very good. Despite being 2-2
Yeah,
in the
with
group,
a win here, he would almost, and depending on how Reina
If
does,
he wins, he almost wins.
no, but I mean, almost gets him through.
it depends who he's played already, you know? Like, if his 2 losses are against Solar and Lambo, then he's looking very healthy in this
Yeah.
group. But Elazer, yeah, as Snoot was saying and as Apollo was saying too, he's actually one of the Zergs in Europe that seems to go under the radar,
Yeah.
but he's very, very good. And he's mechanically very fast too. Like, him and Lambo share very similar traits in that they're both quick, they're both fast, and they're both just genuinely good. So Semper, he's going to have his work cut out for sure.
Yeah, I still think he played really well against Solar. I feel like he showed some really great sparks in that matchup. As far as the way that these groups have settled themselves, anything that you guys would say has really surprised you?
Hope that Bly can climb out from where he's dropped down to, unfortunately. His loss against Sortov and then his recent loss against Parting has put him near the bottom of the group.
Oh, he lost against sort of.
He did. But I believe in Bly to escape and go through, hopefully. But
enough.
it looks pretty standard. I mean, there's not too many crazy surprises.
Kind of expected Showtime to do a bit better.
Yeah.
Right now, Huck is the Protoss that's leading this group alongside Party.
Yeah.
That group B, by the way, that did look like quite a hard group for any Terran to be in. So Avocado being sat there with
Poor
the likes
guy.
of
Yeah.
Poor dude.
yeah, and
too.
Semper. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got Solar, Elazer, and Lambo. And, like, Reynor did very well in his Southern Europe qualify, too. Like, he
Yeah.
managed to blitz through it. So, yeah, quite a tough group for any Terran to be in.
Sad that.
Yeah. It's difficult because you look at the setup, and of course we knew Zerg coming into this was strong, but sometimes you got to ask yourself, you know, like what made it so difficult for those Terran players to be able to pick up those wins, and unfortunately they just seem to be getting completely outplayed so far today.
Outplayed Nathan, yes.
Yeah.
Certainly. Snoot's just grinning.
It's tough. It's a tough life out there. Wouldn't you agree, Jens?
Yeah, I mean, if you queue up on the ladder and you click the wrong race,
You
Well-
know, that's a perfect way to describe it.
I think that's beautifully,
you
eloquently said.
have to play the race that you're comfortable with.
Which is mostly Zerg.
So the one that wins. All right, let's find out who's going to win this. How many Ravagers will it take to kill an American Terran? Let's find out now with Apollo and Snoot.
I don't think it's going to be many, but thank you very much, Nathanius. Joined here by Snoot, Jens Asgard,
The Asgardian.
the protector of the WCS, the defender of the European realm, Sir Asgard. Happy to have you here doing some commentary with us. Currently the most successful, ladies and gentlemen, Legacy of the Void StarCraft 2 player, already banking $15,000 in one tournament. But down here, looking to bank himself $20,000 if he gets first place. Here's Semper, the red Terran player, representing North America in this NA versus EU battle. Here is Semper.
Showing very interesting build orders so far. Very cool openings, very unique things. Last time he played on this map went for 6 Reapers.
Go on, give this guy an introduction. Do it in the best Kalaris, the best Total Biscuit.
In the top, the blue Zerg from Team Extreme Supremacy, it's Laser.
Love it.
Representing Poland here. Very solid win rates against Protoss. Not so much against Terran, a little bit surprising. He did very well against Terrans in Heart of the Swarm. So let's see if that can carry over to Legacy of the Void here.
And he has got a hatch gas pool to open things up here.
The bread and butter opening here, especially on a map like this. If there's one map where I've seen so much cheese from Terran, it's this one. I played on the Korean server quite a bit during my stay in China, and I've never seen so much cheese.
No, really?
Never.
What type of cheese?
There was
it
so
cheddar?
many different. Yeah, there was cheddar, there was the 4 racks, there was 3 racks hidden in the 3rd on the gold basis, there was proxy 2 racks Reaper.
And players
All kinds
say
of
that
proxies.
Koreans are the most solid.
But Semper is not cheesing, so none of that stuff here. Which is too bad, because I think it's a very strong way to play this map. There's a lot of cliffs, the Reapers can jump up on, there's a lot of places to hide the proxies. It's just a very, very solid map for cheese, but Laser sees what's going on, he sees the Reaper, he knows this is as standard as can be. Queues up 4 Zerglings, queues up the double Queen and the speed, and there we see a factory as well. Follow up from Semper here.
Second gas as well, so opening up the options here for Semper to be a little bit aggressive, to hunt the drones and harass his opponent in the early stages of this first map, but not yet. It's still in development.
Follow up at home. He's going to catch one of Laser's overlords. A little bit of an oversight there from Laser, as Semper at the same time is microing his Reaper against the Zerglings in the natural of Laser. This overlord, it's going to go down, right?
Naughty,
I think so.
naughty Laser.
It has to go down. And that's,
I mean, Snoot
quite
would
the blow.
never allow that overlord to go down.
No, I've lost so many overlords, man. All the time, all the time.
But
every day on ladder, I lose an overlord or 2 or 20, 100.
Well, you know, you do play a lot, so I'll believe you for now. So there's the switch over with the barracks and factory, so get that Hellion production underway. Starport is down, so options from Banshees to tanks to Hellbats, you name it, from this position.
And Laser is playing this out very standard, very straightforward. He hasn't gone for additional gases, for example, so there's no sort of Ravager, cheese off of 2 bases. Also very popular on this map, or just in general. We don't see that. He's just playing very straight up. Warding off this Reaper, taking the gold base, adding in more queens. Just very catch-all, but very safe, solid build.
Well, currently, there's only a couple of Hellions to defend this little squadron of Zerglings, this little rustle of Swarm. This is it's an important game here for Semper. Of course, losing this puts him 0-3, and well, see you later, Alligator. You're going to be knocked out this tournament, and you will not make it to the bracket stage, which starts tomorrow, FYI. Reaper gets surrounded here and is going to get taken down, but a couple of Lings roasted and toasted.
Yeah, that's the scary thing when you go up against so many Hellions. At some point, there will be enough Hellions to actually do a run by, and if you don't have that Ling buffer ready, if Semper just goes in, like full YOLO, just runs up the ramp, and you don't have the Lings to stop them, then you're in major trouble.
Well, there is a Medivac to assist that, so it doesn't necessarily need to go for a straight run by, but...
Well, without the Lings either way, the defense is going to be pretty scarce.
Ooh! Semper, 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 representing North America and Canada. Can he do it? Because it's only Huck right now doing well in this tournament from North America. But here we go, 4 Hellions can get a lot of kills. And we're going to go in and see how many we can get.
And there's Roaches in production. That's not what you want at this timing. You want Zerglings to catch the Hellions physically, stop them from just roaming around like this.
Juicy, juicy. We're getting a lot of kills here.
Semper, this is an amazing opening for him so far.
9 kills and more to come here as he finds himself on that.
10 kills and so much lost mining time as well. And Laser really wanted to have those drones in the gold, but right now they're probably stuck in the natural. Like, Laser is just drone transferring all over the place, and it's just
Snoot.
Not getting any mining done whatsoever.
If this was you and you just lost 10 drones and it's in the booth, you're playing against Flash in Toronto right now, you've just lost 10 drones, what do you say to yourself in that booth? Do you curse? Do you shout at yourself? Do you tell yourself off?
Make Ravagers.
Make what? Just make Ravagers. Well, here comes the Liberator to continue the harassment here. Semper turning up the aggression.
And this is when you want the Ravagers. If you have 3 of them, you can actually one-shot this Liberator, but for now, just going to cause damage, and yeah, no more mining time.
A laser.
So much mining time lost, and Semper is doing so well here in the first game.
He's got his double upgrades on the way. He's got his third command center finished up. He's darting into the mineral line again, and he gets a good volley into the gold line. And this is a dream start. 25. Hallelujah, what a number to have to start map number 1.
That's so bad for a laser right now. It's such a tough position to come back from, but at the very least, he still has that gold base, which gives him a little bit extra income, but is it going to be enough?
I thought you said at the very least he still has Ravages. I was like, all right.
He also has Ravages. And soon enough, they're going to be upgraded Ravagers, and we saw what Solar did with those on this very map.
And we did, and I love how cautious Semper's being from this position. He's not rushing his third, he's not going overboard,
but we also saw
taking it slow.
We also saw how taking it slow can also get you into trouble. We saw that on Ceres against the Ultralisk, against the Hive timing, where Semper failed to capitalize on the advantages that he had against the very, very late Hive from Solar in that game. So if he sits back for too long, then he might very well enable a laser to come back into this game, especially since this 4th base right here is a possibility for a laser.
Oh, cheeky scan on this 3rd base reveals
no gases.
Drone count, lack of gases, a comfortable position to see.
Means
well, he saw that a bunch of bunkers actually. Look at that. Is he a little bit nervous against an attack coming in?
I guess he saw that there was no gases, so he just wants to play it extra safe.
Yeah.
Although it's a little bit weird though. The lack of gases could mean that there would be, for example, a circling swell, but after scouting the Ravagers, I think it's pretty clear for Semper right now. It should be that this is going to be a ground-based Roach Ravager type of comp, not some sort of Roach Ravagers speedling all in, for example.
He doesn't want to play too safe though. I mean, he'll start to lose his advantage, right? So
yeah, especially against this 4th base, and it's on the way right now. So if this drop cannot cancel the 4th base of a laser, a laser's income is going to increase even further, despite, you know, he doesn't have to add in so many more workers. All he has to do is to transfer the mineral workers from his natural on the main to this gold base, and that's going to give him an advantage.
And here is the little amount of units here trying to get the cancellation on this hatchery. A couple of Roaches do come to defend. They will push this back for now.
But the hatchery is quite low, so it could be sniped at a later time, and that's very good for Semper.
Absolutely, and another drop here in the middle of creep. Right now the focus is on the single Medivac, and a stim forward here from Semper, launching himself towards his 30, finds himself some Ravagers, does a little bit of damage, but Transfuse keeps it alive. He has to back it off.
Small Roach counterattack at the gold does nothing really for a laser, but so far he's not taking massive damage. He's losing a little bit of mining time, but losing this 4th though.
Oh, here we go. This is a big pickup here for Semper. Laser out of position. He's focusing down the Roaches. Kill the hatchery!
Don't disagree with this. But on the flip side, there were no drones there, and if he can somehow sniff out that laser is not actually sending drones there, then, you know, it's not that bad. He can come back later. It's just important that he does before the transfusions bring this hatchery back to full health.
And
that's
look at
the danger of it.
And lasers at 67 workers, a decent army. He's got good upgrades on the way. Semper stopped his upgrades for a long time. He sat back defensively, didn't get 2-2 on the way. He was miles ahead.
And this is what we talked about a little bit earlier on Ceres. Semper likes to harass a lot, and he does a very good job of it, but he doesn't really commit much of his army. But this I like though. This I like a lot.
Right.
I think
gonna get that hatchery, mate.
This is very, very good against Roach Ravager.
Has been spotted though, so a laser is aware.
As long as your control is on point, then it should be okay. Picking off an Overlord here.
Yeah.
That's all great.
2 Medivacs at the north.
Yeah, and this
Medivacs at the south. Hit him from the north, hit him from the south, hit him from the north and south.
Here we go, here we go. Roach and Ravager.
Push it back for now. But there's 2 Medivacs up here, inside the main, splitting up a laser's attention. Can he defend
now it's
on
going
multiple
to be,
fronts?
Oh, this is so cute. A small drop actually of 4 Roaches in the main of Semper. So both players are going to have to multitask like crazy right now.
Yeah, gets rid of the Queen inside. He's not moving his army, so the Corrosive Bars hit, and they deal a lot of damage. And that gets taken out. And down here as well, the 3 Medivacs that we saw are getting pushed back too. So it looks like a laser is going to come out the winner here because he's attacking with a very minimal amount of forces, yet it's done critical damage into that mineral line while defending in 2 positions. Very good from the laser.
Very, very good. Finally returning a little bit of that worker damage. Semper dealing so much damage to Elazir's economy early on, but now Elazir truly has found himself a way back in this game economically.
Bit of a shame after a fantastic start here for Semper, but now Elazir's got full control of this. He's got full throttle on this game, and we see another attack coming out from Semper. He tries to launch himself at these Ravagers, but as you can see, damage output and just the amount of hit points these guys have, it's not going down very fast.
It was a nice idea moving towards the Ravagers like that, but their DPS is a little too high.
Oh, this is a bit dangerous though. That's a lot of tanks, and now he feels it and actually takes a lot of losses on the outskirts.
And a very nice concave here is going to be a little tricky for Elazir to hit there, and it does get away though.
Yeah, and another drop is loaded up, ready to go. These slow and very painful drops to see because of how slow these overlords are.
Still kills quite a lot of Marines. It's a very cost-effective roach right there.
Yeah.
Cute little tiny battle in the grand scheme of things.
Now the Hive has completed for a laser.
But look at his bank as well. Like Elazir's economy is so healthy right now. Those gold bases just bringing the gold.
Bringing the gold in. And he's even taking a 5th base in the center as well. Unfortunately, the single roach harassment was not going to do too much more. It's Semper not giving up yet. We saw an excellent game a little bit earlier on against Solar, but unfortunately, can't help but feel he has let this one slip.
Yeah, the advantage definitely is not there anymore, but he has a very, very high siege tank count, and that's something we didn't really see in the game against Solar. We only saw a few tanks, but here we have 10 tanks.
Oh, if they get off the right volleys, and
there's no Liberators. Like Semper is playing, basically using tanks the way you would use Liberators, I would assume. Just it's kind of weird. This feels like a mech push almost.
Yeah, and he can slowly push forward, bunny hop his tanks towards this position, actually picking them all up instead.
They can fly now.
They can fly there instead, man. This is Legacy. Don't need a bunny hop tanks anymore, you idiot. They can just fly.
Why is there an unsiege button? I don't understand.
I don't even know. They just pop out the siege tank in siege mode.
Of course, there is a small cooldown when you drop the siege tank down, so they don't fire right away, but it's still the most convenient way to move your tanks around.
Snoot.
Taking down the hatchery. But still, Elazir has a very, very intimidating army.
Ultralisks.
The Ultralisks.
They can't be stopped.
Sean having a lot of fun here as these Marauders die to these Ravagers, dealing so much DPS. A small drop on the left as well. A little bit of economic damage, but that's not the main story here. Semper is trying to push aggressively as these Ultras are about to pop, and Chitinous plating is still a little bit away.
And here we go, a little push forward here, and that's quite a lot of units. Unfortunately, getting hit by the Corrosive Vials. He's got to be careful about that.
You need to take this base down, Semper.
Taking it down does take a few losses, unfortunately. Falls back to the comfort of the siege tanks.
Yeah, I like how he's using this cliff to stay safe.
Yeah, look at that. It's so abusive, isn't it? You hate that.
Yeah. But with Ravagers, though, you can still shoot a high ground if vision is there, but there's no vision up there, so these tanks are raining fire from above, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, pretty nice here from Semper, just running back with his tanks. He's actually stopped them.
And now the Liberators. Look at this, 4 Liberators at a time. This is what he was trying to do against Solar, but it's...
Everything dies. Corrosive Vials trying to get some damage onto them, but he turns it around here, and what looked really good is looking really bad as Semper.
Wow, Elazir is losing so many expensive units right now. Look at the gas bank, it's drying out, and his only hope is going to be Zerglings and Ultralisks alone.
In a back and forth game here, Semper leading, then Elazir leading, now Semper leading again. He's stimming up forward, clearing up this creep. He's got his Liberators.
And now he's going to zone out the top base by using these Liberators in between, but the Ultralisk already made it over. But that means
very low units, very low units. There's a lot of Ultras here he's trying to pick up to get out, or is he going to stay and fight? If he stays and fights, he's going to lose it all, but he picks up, he gets himself on the high ground, starts dealing damage from up here instead.
Very, very nice tactics here from Semper. Really, really pushing Elazir to the limits here. And
but as he got units here to defend this planetary, he's got 4 or 5 Ultralisks looking mean.
These SCVs are in so much trouble. I think you should get them out of there.
He's taking down the gold base, and at the same time, Semper's on the other side of the map, killing the Ultralisk. Having what a crazy map number 1 between these two players as Semper fights to stay alive at DreamHack Winter. Currently 0-2 in his group, but he's doing everything in his power within the Terran power to stay alive. Does he have what it takes to stop Elazir?
Elazir's base on the left is still operational. It's still mining, and I believe maybe soon the patches will be running out. But for now, Elazir's bank is not really hurting. He cannot make Ultralisks anymore. But for the most part, if he can hold on just a little bit longer, these ultras are still doing so much value because Semper's composition just is not there just yet.
I love how
He's not
Semper's using Medivacs, man. Just they're so useful in this scenario when there's nothing to really deal with them.
Yeah, just I'm so concerned for Semper all the time because we don't see the Liberators that much. The production tab is completely void of Liberators. I don't see any additional Liberators being produced, and that's going to become a problem, especially his income is also hurting a lot right now because
quite a
of
lot of
fourth
Liberators
base.
there, though. That's quite a lot.
But he has to use them.
All right. How well does he use them, though, Snoop?
You fly them to the base and then you siege them up in the Defender, the Liberation mode.
The Liberation mode is becoming a thing. As the Liberators get locked up, they defend this left-hand side, but they also have to protect this right.
They truly need to defend this base because without this base, Semper doesn't have an income.
And here we go. Stim forward. He's got to be very careful. Ultras cleaving away at that bio, and they do deal a lot of damage at this point, and that is a lot of Ultralists. Whoa,
so
11 of them. 9 Liberators are in position. They are at the middle lockdown, but there's a bit of a weakness on this left.
It's very important for Semper not to overthink it and just try to stick to one side.
Oh,
like,
he's attacking into the Liberators here. The Ultras are getting absolutely annihilated. All right, lesson learned. Don't attack into Liberators again. Second time that's happened, and the second time he's lost a lot in this game. He did take a chunk of bio with him, but oh boy.
So many units lost here for a laser, but now the question for Semper is, you have like one mining base. Are you going to take your Liberators and capitalize on the fact that you just killed so many Ultralisks? Or are you going to sit back and take it easy? This is a very, very, very difficult decision for Semper to make right now. And it seems like he's just going to take it easy, take it slow and sit back. And we'll see a few minutes from now if that's a decision that will pay off.
But how
right now, I'm not sure.
How is he ever going to fight the Liberators? What unit do you build to stop them? Can you stop them?
Ravagers are decent at keeping them from
But he's only got
moving
6.
forward. Yeah, so there's definitely a window here for Semper to exploit, but
I mean,
right now it's not happening.
You almost feel that Corruptors aren't even an option, right? Because they can just kill them anyway.
Precisely. The Liberators are still very strong against Corruptors.
All right, well, 5 Ultralists on the way, a couple of Queens in support, a couple of Corruptors coming in too.
Semper's being decisive, moving forward, setting up the Liberation Zones here.
The Liberation Zones. The Freedom Zones on Prion Terraces. As we look to see if Semper can finally wrap this one in the bag.
It's still multitasking incredibly well also, hurting a laser's mining, but the most important part is don't lose this army.
He's attacking into the Liberators again. He's going to take a lot of damage. The bio just runs back off Crete, stims back, is going to deal damage, and that is a lot dealt to a laser. He's still stimming back. The Ultras, once they go down, there is not that much left.
This bio is hurting really badly, but at the same time, the Ultras cannot catch up because they're off creep. The creep spread is not there.
And Leftover's going to get killed as well. Liberators to save the day as another successful fight for Semper while still dropping at the northern side. He's got the army on lockdown. He's got the economy on lockdown. And what a crazy back and forth game in 96 supply for Semper. A miserable 32 for a laser. And a few Ultralists on the way, but he's lost it. He's lost Team GG, and Semper takes map number 1 there. Woo! Crazy
What a game. What a game. It started off very standard, very slow, and then went crazy.
When liberation happened.
Yeah.
And that shows the strength of the Liberators there. And obviously, fighting into them is almost suicidal, you can say at that point. But what is the best way to deal with it? Is it to fight through them, and then Ravagers is
it's a tough choice because Ravagers take a very long time to actually deal with them because you need to fire the shots and it takes a while, and there are multiple liberation zones, so you got to be very careful. Ravagers take time, and if the Terran player sieges very quickly and uses multiple Liberators to push forward, using the Ravagers can be very difficult, and you also have the option to stim forward using the Marines. You have siege tanks possibly, which cause additional trouble for the Ravagers. So siege tank Liberator is just a very difficult combination to fight against.
What happens if you sprinkle Hydralisks behind the Ultralisks?
Hydralisk? I guess that's a good idea. But I'm not sure.
Oh, come on, you pick me up to shoot me down, Snoop.
The Liberators are going to make quick work of the Hydras. They one-shot every Hydra. And if the Liberators
But is he going to target fire with the Liberators onto the Hydralisk while stimming his bio backwards?
Yes.
Semper ain't no Korean.
No, you can still make moves like that.
What about mass queens? Well, there's 2 shots, 3 shots to kill a queen. So,
3 shots.
so what about queens?
They're nice, but only when the Liberators are low in numbers, I would say.
Is there an
But
answer?
I mean,
I'm trying my best to
if
get
the
one out of
Liberators
you.
are coming towards you,
Yeah.
there's always the you can always move around them, counterattack, base trade.
What about... Got it. Ready? What about, with your Ultralisk and Zergling army flooding in, from behind, Borid Infestors, do this, and then spray Infested Terrans around.
Yeah, I tried this.
And?
It didn't work.
Oh, okay. All right, another one doesn't work. I'll keep thinking of ideas.
I think Ravagers. We saw that Elazer was able to take down a lot of the Liberators that were in the defender mode by using the Ravagers.
Okay.
It just takes a little while, and until I think maybe Elazer's biggest problem there with those fights was that he engaged into the multiple defender zones. Whereas you just need to be patient, take it very, very slowly, very carefully, and don't overcommit your Ultralisks in there until you have thinned out the Liberator count. Now, obviously,
Okay.
you know, it's really difficult if the Terran player keeps adding on more Liberators, but if they don't, all you need to do is just take it slow, keep calm,
Yep.
just fire the Ravager shots and try to deal with the drops. Just take it very, very slow.
All right, so if I told you right now, I'm listening. I'm about to tell you something. You go, what are you going to tell me? I go, all right, you can go and play a game, a best of 3, against TY, and he's going to use Liberators like that. What are you thinking? I'm in trouble? Are you worried? You scared?
Liberated tank, I'm not sure about.
You'd be nervous, right?
But
yeah.
the Terrans I've had the most trouble with are probably the ones using Liberators, using multiple zones and medivacs at the same time.
Something to look forward to with TY playing a little bit later on. Game 2 is upon us as we load into Semper versus Elazer. And down here to the bottom, left-hand side, spawning in as the red Terran player, it is Semper. From Canada has made the trip over to Sweden in Jönköping, where we currently are for DreamHack Winter. And please, Snooks.
Here in the bottom right of Ruins of Ceres, it's Elazer. Looking very focused, eager to even up this series as quickly as possible, perhaps.
Currently, Elazer is 2 wins and 2 losses. Let's just read this off here real fast. Elazer beat Avocado 2-0, good start. He then beat Reyna 2-0, great start. He's up 2-0 in group stages. Then he runs up against Solar, loses 0-2. His next match against Lambo loses 0-2. So now he's sitting in this group 2-2. So started well, unfortunately fell a little bit flat on his face come the second half of these games. Whereas Semper, though, Semper's had a bad start today. He started up against Lambo, lost 0-2, so he's already down 0-1. Goes against Solar, loses 0-2. He's down 0-2 in groups. Then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Semper beats Avocado, gets a win. Now, he's 1-2. With this, he could go 2-2.
That's correct.
It's a big win.
A very important match for both of these players. As we see just another normal opening here from Semper. No sort of proxy. Believe there was a Reaper opening. I think so. Just a more standard play from Elazer as well, going into double queen, 4 Zerglings, staying safe against any sort of early Reaper pressure and starting the speed as well. Just a very common way to open in Legacy of the Void. If you play Zerg, do go for that hatchery first and the gas and the spawning pool. It's a very safe way to deal with pretty much every single Terran build out there, as long as you micro properly against all kinds of cheese and whatever they have. And for now,
Get an overload. Get an overload.
yeah, gotta be
Get another one.
Gotta be careful about that. It happened in the last game, and it could very well happen here if Elazer.
He could go straight south very soon, but
He could.
dunno.
He sees it. And this is a good read for Elazer because he
Yeah.
sees that the barracks is making 2 Marines at a time, and that's usually indicative of a 2-base timing, like a Hellion Marine medevac drop.
Love those.
Yup, the good old so-called flash build that really bothered a lot of Zergs for a long, long time. dropping Marines in the main, Hellions at the front, or even dropping Hellions in the main, Marines at the front, like any sort of weird combination.
Now the factory's finished up, not using it yet. Is he going to hop a Skipperoo?
Could be.
Switch it over.
Maybe a tech lab or two, or something weird. We'll have to wait and see. Could just also be some sort of Liberator opening.
Double gas coming down on the natural now, and then the Roach Warren for a laser.
I like this approach a lot. It's if Semper goes for some sort of Liberator opening with this, then a laser can shut it down very, very easily. But it's actually going to be a siege tank, tank drop. Of course, there was a tech lab on the factory. So yeah.
So we saw Semper a little bit earlier on. He used the siege tank defensively. Just looking at what he did, he used the siege tank defensively and then dropped 8 Marines.
That's true.
Just FYI, Snoop.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Thanks
it's okay.
Thanks for correcting me.
I mean, you know, it's not every day you get to correct Liquid, Snoop. You shot me down with all my attempts to theorycraft how to beat the Liberated down. So I'm just.
What do you think of the third CC timing? It seems a bit earlier than the previous one, don't you think?
Isn't it the same?
Maybe it's the same.
I think it is. All right, let's find out.
Wow, Sean, that was totally not intentional.
Yeah. Totally got 2-0 on you, man. All right. Here comes the medevac. 8 Marines loaded. What? Because he didn't do too much damage against Solo, if I remember correctly, which I do. Did I?
What?
Loving it. All right, here come the 8 Marines. A couple of Ravagers already out, though, so they shouldn't really do anything. Spore Crawl too. Ooh, if he... I suppose he could have preemptively.
No, you don't. Stop. A laser? No.
And
it's very dangerous as Terran. You don't want to be in a zone where Ravagers can shoot from afar, because then you need to babysit your medevac a lot. So it's a little bit easier just to send it away if you can't keep up with the multitasking, for example. But Semper, of course, he's on top of the multitasking part, just trying to find some damage, but nothing to be found.
No, nothing to be found. And obviously, after the third command set and falling on extra production and the infrastructure, but before we see the Liberator come to play, what do you think about these positions real fast, like the south for both positions? Do you like it as a Zerg?
I think as a Zerg, it depends on how you want to play. I think for positions like this, if you're the type to play Roach Ravager, then you probably want to be close to your opponent. But
yeah.
If you want to play Mutiling Baneling or Link Corruptor or some sort of high-tech play like we saw Solar use, then you probably want to be cross.
Okay, well, he is playing Roach Ravager, so I suppose it could be cool.
Oh no!
Semper, no!
It could also be that this is a...
Semper, double no! No! That was horrible. That's so bad for him. Loses the Liberator to a Spore Crawler and then loses his Medivac to a couple of Ravagers. Oh no, this is a disaster. This is a disaster.
Yeah, a laser could just as well mass roaches and go for a counterattack here, and there will be no way for Semper to actually protect this third base.
Oh man.
He can protect the natural, just barely. I mean, theoretically, a laser could just morph some Ravagers, bring in Overlord or an Overseer, and get that high ground vision, fire the Ravager shots, and if Semper doesn't have enough medivacs to micro with, he can't escape. Like, the tanks are stuck there, and he's going to lose everything.
Well, the Roach count's really starting to climb up now. He's got 10, 11, and I mean, look at the supply. Like, even though obviously it's a lot bigger than it really represents.
Yeah,
but
the Roach.
The Roach is takes up a lot of supply, man.
Takes up quite a bit of space.
But the thing is he's really powering up. You just look at the units to the bottom right. 15 Roaches, 5 Ravagers against a handful of Marine Marauder and a couple of tanks. Granted, tanks could be in the very good locations if you can't get to them, but starting to get very scary at the moment.
Especially the medivac count is so important when working with Ravager attacks, because you need to evacuate your units. You need to move those tanks around when the Ravager shots actually come down.
Wow. So it looks like we're going to have this 1-1 attack coming out from a laser. His 1-1 upgrade's about to complete. He's rocketing up, or should we say rocketing up here at the DreamHack Rockats Legacy of the Void Championship. We'll see how far he goes, though, and I'm pretty sure he's going to go all the way. And the question comes, can Semper hold on? Bunkers? No, I mean, do they even help in this situation? What does he need to do to hold this?
Bunkers are great for soaking additional Ravager shots, because at some point, you know, you need to clear away the bunkers. Yeah. They take up space, they prevent you from moving in. But there are so many Ravagers.
So many units here. There's hardly anything for Semper. And just because of the way that he started, as you correctly described, losing units like that just opens up the gateway to Zerg to punish and ultimately to kill here. This is an absolute walkover, a fantastic execution from a laser as he walks in. And
Yeah.
this is no way, no way.
GG, no hesitation whatsoever as Alaser
Yeah.
closes this game in a very solid fashion, really showing how it's done. Just
Yeah.
not doing anything silly, not going up to Hive Tech, not making things that he doesn't have to make, just going straight for this big, massive Roach timing.
And perfectly done there at the end, and quite
Yeah,
a simple
like
game,
this
really.
is how you want to close an advantage like this
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I
Just-
mean, you know, you can get more ahead, but
But
if you want to be a killer, if you want to be mean, and you want to be very decisive, that's a perfect way to do it. He builds up and just goes over and wins the game. So it's now tied 1 apiece, and as good as Semple looked in game number 1 now, it's all starting to fall away from him. And with this loss, he would be in a bad position going forward in this group. And of course, Laser gets 1 step closer to closing out a top 3 finish in Group B. And
Yeah.
it comes down to what's the last map?
yeah, the last map was chosen by Alaser here, and it's going to be Larry Lack Crest, the
And which one's
4-player
that?
map.
The 4-player map.
That's
Okay,
not
that's
Ceres.
the-
It's
yes.
it's a lot smaller. It has a lot of weird things with the rock towers that are destructible. But in general, it should favor this type of Roach Ravager style from Alaser, I believe. Of course, there's also cross positions,
Yeah.
which could favor different styles also. But I think Roach Ravager is the way Alaser played it looked very, very convincing.
What do you think about the way that Semper's kind of approached this in his very harassment, esque style that
I think
it
it's
didn't work
great.
at all?
Like he played it out so well in the first game,
Yeah.
and I've not really seen the transitions that he went for, like the 10 siege tanks. I've never seen that before, but it worked out really well.
Yeah.
But in this game, we couldn't really get a very good feel of it because he just lost all the units. So I'm not sure if he's going to go for a crazy build, like a weird opening, and then go for some sort of timing, or if he's just going to go for this safe opening again and try to go for the macro game. I would assume, though, that he's going to use a 2-base opening.
Did on the Korean server when you were in China last week, you played obviously against a lot of Terrans and so on. Were they opening up very differently in terms of their starting build order, command center first versus Reaper, the follow-up to that, the harassment style? How were they doing it?
It was almost exclusively Reaper openings, aside from also a little bit of cheese mixed in. There was a lot of proxy barracks without gas. There was also proxy barracks with gas, the Reaper proxy. Lots of players. I also encountered Maru and some other Terrans, and 2-Rex Reaper seemed to be very much in style.
I mean, we haven't
We haven't
managed
really
to
seen that here.
Yeah, we haven't. That's the thing. There's obviously different regions are growing the game very differently right now.
Yeah.
So you say that the Koreans are a lot more aggressive with their approach, maybe perhaps than the European style?
Yeah,
at the
definitely
moment?
more cheese mixed in there. We haven't seen much Terran cheese at all
Yeah.
in this tournament so far.
Well, here we are with some updated group stats for you, and Solar just absolutely destroying his group. And as expected, he's a tournament favorite, over Parting, over TY, over Bomber. Tournament favorite. He's already won 1 online championship in Legacy of the Void. Parting also 3-0. Good record, but what really stands out here, and you can kind of see that the importance for Semper is 1-2, but anything that stands out, or?
Not in particular. Bly seems to be coming back now.
Yeah!
2-2. Bly and Huck both at 2-2. It's going to be exciting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and Showtime trying to squeeze out that group as well would be a massive feat from the way that he started today.
Yeah.
I think that map 3, is ready for us, so we'll be jumping into that in a quick second. But a very, very important game for Semper. And when you, obviously as a player, you know the type of position you're in where you go into a series in a must-win type game, which this is for him. 1-1, do you start to feel that pressure even more? Or do you still just...
It can affect you, but it varies greatly from person to person. And for example, if you go into this tournament and you think, for example, in Semper's case, I believe it's his first international tournament.
Yeah.
And it really depends. I didn't ask him about this personally, but it really depends on his attitude and his mindset. Like, if he has the mindset that he's just going to do his best and just play as well as possible, 1 map at a time, then I don't think it's going to factor in very much. Like, oh my God, I need to win this map,
What was your first tournament, international?
The first international tournament was maybe was it
A DreamHack?
ESWC?
ESWC was your first big
Paris?
international?
I think maybe, yeah.
How did you do?
Not so well.
Really bad?
The
or?
first, no, yeah, quite bad, I would say. I mean, it's very difficult to be very strong at your first international tournament, I would say.
Okay.
It's different conditions. Like you probably only up until that point you've been playing in the local lands where you know everybody, and it's just very different environments.
All right, then go ahead and introduce these players, Snoot. I love it when you do it.
Yeah. So here in the top, it's Semper. Looking calm and collected, very focused.
And down here on the bottom side, it is, of course, a Laser in a Poland versus Canada match as the Blue Zerg. Solar's next to us, by the way. Hey, Solar. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Are you going to win this tournament? Easy? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up again. Okay.
A lot of positivity there.
Snoot told me if he was in the tournament, he'd beat you. Solar shaking his head for everyone at home. He says, okay.
Sure,
Sure, okay.
sure you would. You totally would.
All right, so going back to a different type of build, we saw a little bit earlier on from Semper, which is the Reactor, and then into first couple of units, rather than just a straight Reaper.
This is quite ballsy by a Laser sending the first Overlord in like this, because this could have been a One-Rax Marine expand. I know it sounds silly, it's a very old build, it's very old school, Wings of Liberty-esque, but it could have happened, so...
You're all gamblers, you Zerg players.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 8 out of 10 times it's going to be a Reaper, and you're like, please. Please.
Do you have any idea how bad it feels when it's actually Marine?
I know, it's like, no! Usually it's always a Reaper, God.
Who makes a Marine first? Who would do such a thing?
Quick scout from the SCV and an immediate back out. Actually didn't go in too far, I don't think, did he? No, so he didn't actually check if it was a gas or not. Obviously, again, in terms of odds and what's likely to happen, the speed should be on its way.
Yeah.
But he never got it confirmed from it. Just position aware.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Oh.
Another one bites the dust.
This feels so bad. My Zerg heart is hurting right now.
Nah, it's very frustrating. Another 100 minerals gone. He's not even building the Overlord at the moment, so he is stuck.
Yeah,
for quite a bit here.
It's gonna line up decently with the inject, but yeah, the second Overlord was a little bit late there.
Yeah, that sucks. But oh well.
Oh well.
Third hatchery is down, and a little bit of a lead here for Semper just because of that early snipe. And we'll see what he can do with it. He's decided to go up to the factory in Starport again, and we'll see if he can be successful. It's looking identical where he's getting his marine production on the way. You know, from this position in last game, he got the siege tank and then the medivac, so
yeah,
maybe just hoping that he can execute it better this time.
Still a possibility for a Banshee build with a little bit of switcheroo, but I don't think it's going to happen. Probably just going to be the siege tank again.
Yeah, sticking to what he thinks is successful, and obviously he did well against Solar earlier. See if he can repeat it now when he needs to.
I think the spawning positions are also quite nice for sieging up, close positions, so you can make this similar type of push as he did on the gold-based map, the Prion Terraces. But it's going to take a long time though. You can't just move out with a single tank or 2 tanks. You need a solid medivac count so you can evacuate for worst case.
Understand.
And tanks by themselves are not really that amazing. So it's probably going to be a very long game if Semper is going to win this one.
And Laser's having a quick look what's up on this side. He sees quite a few Marines and backs off. Where's that medivac? There it is. Kills a few more lings. He's got the medivac ready to go for his 8 Marines. Usually he goes for the Liberator afterwards. We'll see if he keeps going exactly the same way. But here we go. Pretty simple. Needs to get damage done. Or would like to get damage done, I suppose. But
There we
we
have
go.
the Liberator as well.
and then that third command center too. So he's going exactly the same. An Overlord or 2, perhaps. Maybe just 1.
And a Laser is going into the Roach-centric game again, which is very smart in my opinion. But I think eventually...
Hello. Queen.
Queen goes down.
Overlord, Queen, double Queen. Hey, this is much better for him, obviously.
I was wondering for a while if maybe this could have been something like a Nidus attack, but the lair is too late for that. It's just a little weird to see so many Queens being produced this early when you have the option of making Roaches and Ravagers as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Laser takes this. I think he's just going to macro a little bit from here. Both players just going to macro, and then we will probably have some very large-scale fights with a lot of Ravagers and Siege Tanks. Still Siege Tanks being chained, so I'm not sure exactly how many there are of them right now, but I wouldn't be
Being
surprised to
chained.
see them just Yeah, just pumping them out one at a time.
I haven't heard that before.
Chaining units?
Chaining production.
Yeah, chain production.
Never heard that before.
The factory.
I've cast a lot of StarCraft in 5 years. I've never heard that. Liberator gets...
Maybe it's not a thing.
It is now. He's chaining his production on siege tanks. A good stim here getting rid of some creep tumors. Unfortunately, Liberator couldn't get much done inside the main, but this harassment clearly more successful than the previous game, and this is exactly what you need to be doing when you open up with a strategy like this.
And with those queens being sniped, you would think that the creep is slowing down, but they're still here. They're still spreading creeps. So
Yeah.
Laser is looking to get this creep back on track. And it's very important on a map like this, because if you're going to expand horizontally, you really need to have that creep spread going in the right direction over there. It's a very difficult map to spread creep on, because there's so many, what you call them, like
the cliffs, the little ramps.
not the cliffs, but like the airspace, like the dead space.
Yeah, the
the
dead space. Yeah, okay.
The crevasse, maybe?
Yeah.
Or the abyss.
The abyss.
I don't know what it's called.
The multiple abyss holes. Do you no, okay. I was going to ask, are we going to see a laser go for a very similar style of push, but now throwing down the infestation pit, unlocking the next tier? Would suggest not.
Yeah, as you can see, the creep doesn't spread over here. You need to either use an overlord, or you need multiple tumors to sneak by the rocks.
Right.
So it takes a long time for the creep to get there. And Semper could use Medivacs very diligently on the cliff above the 4th base of a laser, but right now, not really opting to do so. Like, there's a lot of space there. That would be a lot of trouble for a laser, but for now, he seems to be going for the same type of timing that we saw in the previous game, but that time it was more of a finishing move. And whereas now, I don't feel like a laser has this massive type of advantage, you know?
No, I mean, he's still droning, he's expanding, furthering himself in this game. Interestingly, though, the tank count, I think, is really high, because he actually didn't stop until just now, if not at all. So we could be at a very high siege tank count again, which would be great against this type of push. Looking at what we're seeing from a laser, though, Snoop, Hives coming in, a single infestor's been made. I don't know if that was a mistake or not. No, he's continuing production of them.
Oh, this could be like a very, very passive type of style where you use infestors and ravagers to just zone out the Terran army. And if they try to drop you, you can catch the medivacs with the fungal and launch the ravager shots for a deadly combination.
Well, a couple of ravagers going to deal with that Liberator and takes it down nice and easy. Just after a couple of drone kills, there is a couple of units, two medivacs full worth of units coming down here to look for the 4th hatchery, which a laser seems to be very wary about, or is he? He's leaving units around there, so...
Just a very, very, very defensive and passive game so far for both players. I mean, I know Semper is moving out, he's making these small moves, but for the most part, both players just very defensive in their approach right now.
Couple of medivacs looking to find some weaknesses in a laser's defense, and he seems to have not been able to find one yet come to this mid-game. But we do see from a laser the switcheroo in terms of what he's going towards, moving a little bit away from roaches.
Oh, and these infestors, they're so exposed.
Could have been dropped on, but yeah, he's going towards Ultralisk now.
Yeah, and I think this is a great choice. We've seen how powerful the Ultralisks with the chitinous platings are, and with the infestors also to lock down counterattacks. It's going to be very difficult for Semper to actually deal damage using these medivacs and these drops.
Still adding on more infestors too.
Still just seems like a very defensive approach, and I kind of like it because, you know, attacking into a Terran on this map, you're actually moving up a ramp if you want to do so. So I think playing for a long game is very clever by a laser here, because look at the 4th base of Semper. If he wants to take one of those, it's very, very far away from the safety of those ramps and everything, and it's so wide open. So a laser just wants the game to drag on so he can kind of choke Semper out.
Well, Semper's moving forward onto creep now and seeing what damage he can do and unlocking this area perhaps for his 4th base to be situated. But he's got to be careful. His stim goes down and he's running away from the fungal growth. Unfortunately, only loses a little bit, but could lose even more. And here come the Corrosive Biles. They don't get that much.
Still a few medivacs going down, and if I was Semper right now, not feel comfortable pushing this position further, and that's where this drop comes in.
This is a great drop down here on the 4th base.
Very good job. This is how you deal with the Roach Ravager. Just drop as many places as possible. Split your army into chunks and then just keep dropping, and eventually you can pull the Surge apart.
At the same time, Semper is pushing very aggressively down this left-hand side flank. He's got a lot of tanks in support behind this small squad of Marine Marauders. He's going to pick up and go towards the main base here as he continues to reinforce that very location. Unfortunately, his drop on the right-hand side has been cleared up and taken out. But a laser...
Very, very dangerous if he goes too far in on creep.
Yeah, and Ultras are almost done now too. There's the first one coming into play.
Yeah, still, I really like how patient Semper is being with this. He's not pushing forward with the siege tanks. He's only using the most mobile parts of his army. He's using the Medivacs, the Marines, the Marauders, and keeping the siege tanks in the back. Look, he's even taken down the rocks. Basically saying, like, I'm not going to go any further here just now. And Elazer is going for some sort of harassment at the third base as well. The third base is Semper.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
That was one of the trademark Elazer roach drops.
He loves those.
Definitely very annoying to deal with. And here's the Liberator switch.
Yeah, that's where the real mean Terran is. And he's trying to get down this hatchery. He's not going to pick it off. Probably could have focused it again there. So something we saw he didn't do earlier.
Yeah.
But nevertheless...
Elazer having a little bit of trouble holding on, but I think strategically this is what he wants. He just wants to force Semper into a position where Semper is going to have a lot of trouble securing the fourth base. That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
But the scary thing for Elazer is that he's going to have to deal with a nightmare of a Terran army with siege tanks, Liberators, Medivacs, Marauders, Marines, and more. Most importantly, there's going to be so many Liberators and siege tanks that you need to be very, very careful in the way that you approach those.
Pretty defensive game overall from both sides. Only a little bit of harassment from both sides, but very shortly is going to be the most crucial part of this game as Semper attempts to move his economy further and take this fourth base. Ultralisk chasing this down is actually getting kited very well by these Marine Marauders, and he looks like he's going to lose an Ultralisk.
Also note how Semper's choice of fourth is very, very aggressive, like truly a mech approach, but this is not going to happen at this rate. He needs to secure this fourth eventually.
I guess he's going to wait till his Liberators come out in numbers and start to siege mode jump his Liberators, defender mode jump his Liberators down to secure that fourth base, but very well done from Semper, always holding on position to this base down here. Unfortunately losing a little bit too much, but target fire the hatchery. This is a big win if he's able to get that. He does target fire, and that is a big pickup from Semper, while also dealing damage on this right-hand side. And all of a sudden, Elazer constricted to just 3 efficiently mining bases, while at the same time, Semper moves out to secure this fourth with the Liberators. Here they are, sensor tower in position as well. And are we going to see Elazer throw himself at this position? If he does and fails, this game could end.
Absolutely. And Semper, I feel like, you know, his economy is not that amazing. He has so many SCVs though, but the mineral patches are really running out, except for this fourth base.
All right.
At this stage of the game, he can't really afford to lose too many units.
Semper moving a bit north now to counteract the way that Elazer's playing. He's trying to get towards this third base. There's a lot of Liberators there, and they are going to lock this position down. But some of the crossing files bring down one. But he does hold this position. He turns his attention south, looking for an entrance, looking for a way to get in.
Infestor snipes there by Semper, targeting the Infestors down in the midst of all the Ultras, and so many defender modes.
There's so many tanks, so many Liberators, a lot of bio left over. Is this position going to be cracked? There's still 3 or 4 Ultras left over, which are not dying very fast, but he is being chased away, and Semper holds a fantastic position. And this is fantastic news here for the Canadian, looking for another win in group stages. But Elazer's economy, though, is getting back online. He's retaken these expansions once again. He's got a lot of more Ultralisks on the way.
This is such a cool way to approach the matchup by Semper, like opening up with all these siege tanks, staying safe against the earliest of the Ravager attacks, and then making the siege tank Liberator Doom army. It's just very, very cool to see how this strategy plays out.
Unfortunately, this is a bit of a throwaway of units almost, as he attempts to get some damage done, but he does lose a little bit. But this is the more important one, because this is actually going to get a lot more done, I think.
Nice cancel there on that base, but this Ultra is way, way too beefy. You can't engage it with bio alone. You really need to have those siege tanks and the Liberators, and that's just something you can't bring to that side of the map. So it's very not exactly easy. It takes attention, but unit-wise, it's fairly simple for Elazer to deflect these drops on the right-hand side. Yeah,
and very good news that Elazer did get his economy back online, taking his 4th and 5th base respectively, but at the same time here, Semper is going to move out to take a 5th, and I would imagine now, Snoot, that would be the base up for contention.
Absolutely. Semper still, even if he has 61 SCVs, he's really, really low on minerals still, and it's so important for him to secure these bases one at a time. Because there's very little ways for him to actually prevent a laser from
Yeah.
expanding to the bottom right. A laser has a very mobile composition. A laser can't engage Semper effectively, like directly. So the best the laser can do is to just wait, try to shut down the spaces from Semper, and it looks like he's about to do so.
He hits at the right time there, and a lot of the mules are not effective. They weren't able to deposit their minerals, and that is a perfect timing for
Oh,
him
the
to go in.
Corruptors are jumping on these Liberators as well. Bio coming in to support.
Two Liberators go down, but he
Oh, a
could-
laser!
Yeah, he can't lose all those Corruptors. That is expensive.
Be careful.
He backs off there, and the onslaught from the northeast continues as 3 Ultras and a couple of units supporting start to deal damage inside.
Now all of a sudden,
Behind enemy
Semper is being
lines.
pulled apart. Will
Yeah.
this mean that he's about to lose the 4th base? A laser is going in at the 4th base as well.
Yeah, he is, and if he takes this out, there's a couple of Liberators out of position on the right-hand side. The Corruptors are bringing them down. He takes down the Planetary Fortress, and a laser making and pulling strings in this game is able to absolutely just destroy Semper's defensive position.
But now the Ultralisks are off creep. The Liberators are going into defender mode.
Oh, and he's
Let's see
taking
what
too
they
much
can do.
damage. This bio actually goes down very fast there. And there's 30 additional links, 6 additional Ultralists to support these last remaining ones that survive. And just like that, as Semper attempts to establish a 5th base, a laser with a fantastic play, pulling him north, attacking then into the 4th base once it was weak and out of position. And he has found himself in a game-winning position with the reinforcements coming in from all around this map.
It's such a difficult spot to be in for Semper. He was being so patient for so many minutes, and then he just tried to take that 5th base a tiny bit too early. And that's all it takes for Zerg to pull you apart like this with a mobile army. It's truly... You need so much patience with a composition like Liberator
Yeah.
Siege Tank.
And here come in the reinforcements for a laser. A great series between the both of them, but it looks like a laser's going to push his hopes through into the placements and playoffs one step closer. We'll see if he's going to qualify shortly when we update the groups, as it is very close in Group B currently. But a big win there for a laser, and congratulations to him. And that's an impressive victory. Unfortunately for Semper, he loses, and that looks like it's very unlikely that he'll get a group stage out of group stages. Almost impossible. But a great win for a laser.
Yeah, I think Semper showed some very interesting strategies here with the Siege Tank opening into the Mass Liberator Siege Tank style. And definitely something I haven't seen before, and it worked out very well. I think especially for small maps, Arena comes to mind. I think this type of style can be very effective on smaller maps. Maybe not so much on Seras or maps where Zerg can counterattack or defend their bases very easily with limited options for Terran to move out. And yeah, but on small maps, I think this is a very cool way to play Terran.
Good series indeed. Joined on the desk again as we get ready for the winner's interview, coming in a couple of moments, by D Muslim and Nathanius. Enjoyable series, no doubt. Nate.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, I would say.
Okay, I know you boys are bitter or a little bit salty because the Terrans lost again. We get it. We get it.
You
But
know,
there is a... You can draw inspiration from the way that he played and at least attempt the drawing board.
I was very inspired by these 7 Ultralisks running into 7 Liberator Freedom Zones. That was the most inspirational, pivotal point of the match for me. That Prion Terraces game is the one that really rustled my jimmies, though. It's pretty crazy how much you can swing things back with those Ravager shots. I don't know.
Got to pay attention.
But yeah, I mean, despite balance or what have you, I think it was a really good series between the two. Like, they both seem pretty evenly matched. Like, there was a lot of drop shipping, a lot of counterattacking, a lot of everything both races should be doing against the other. And we got to see like the late game composition of Ultras in full effect. I haven't yet seen a Terran do what I think might be best, is where you're using buildings to block the Ultras just so they're not as effective and such. We saw tanks still being pretty damn good against Ultras with the Liberation Zones, but nobody's used Ghosts yet.
Liberation Zones. I like how that's becoming a thing now.
Is it not Liberation Zone?
No, it's Defender mode. They're in Defender mode.
That's
Defender
so
mode.
boring, man.
Get out.
Liberation mode.
Yo,
Liberation Zone,
bug,
dude. Yeah.
Bug the person who writes the menus in the game. Change it to Liberation mode, seriously. It's like,
That's pretty sick. Liberation
okay.
mode or Liberation
It's like
Zones.
Planetary Nexus. That used to sound
I
so much
coined
cooler
that
than
too.
that one.
No, Liberation Zone.
Liberation Zone.
That's gonna stick, man, because it sounds way cooler.
It is cool.
Spreading liberty.
It is cool.
Spreading that freedom.
I think I'm looking ahead. I think the interview is ready.
It is
mate.
time to hear from Alazer as he has defeated Semper. He's over in the tournament zone with Smix.
That's absolutely right, Nathanius. Congratulations, Alazer. You had a pretty good day. You just finished all your matches, but let's talk about the one that we just watched. It was a really exciting series, especially games 1 and 3. But let's first talk about game 1. It was super back and forth, and then it just kind of ended with you taking a bad fight into Liberators. But let's just talk about that game overall for you.
Yeah, the first game, I think I was really unlucky. First I was the Overlord, then I made some Zerglings, but he had defense. I couldn't do anything, so I was really behind after the early game. So then I couldn't really finish that, and I usually finish the games with just Mass Roach. So then we got to the late game, and he started massing Liberators. I never played versus something like that on European server. Usually they play just mass ghosts in Europe, so it was really difficult for me to adapt. And yeah, then everything fell apart in the first game. I couldn't do anything.
Well, luckily enough, you took game 2, and then in map 3, things obviously went in your favor. It seemed that your strategy heading into map 3 was you kind of wanted to just head into the late game as much as possible, since with that map it's difficult for Terran to take the 4th and 5th base. So talk about your strategy in that map 3.
Well, I also wanted to finish that with just Mass Roach, but well, he started massing tanks. So again, I couldn't. So I thought, okay, so he will mass Liberator this game too. So maybe I'll just make faster Ultralisk, faster Spire to make Corruptors, and somehow just play that without so many losses in the early game, and everything will be good. And yeah, that's how it worked out, I guess.
All right, well, let's talk about your performance in this day overall. You had 2 losses to Lambo and Solar, and these are 2 Zerg players. When I spoke with Solar earlier, he was saying that he really does not like ZVZ. He said that he feels like it's a very luck-based, and because of that, he just doesn't really like it. And you had 2 losses to Zerg today. I wanted to know what your thoughts are on ZVZ.
I mean, I really like the matchup right now. I think it's less luck-based than it was in the Heart of the Swarm. You have in Heart of the Swarm, you just had 9 pull countering Hatch first countering pull first, and pull first countering 9 pull, so that was rock, paper, scissors. And here you actually have like 10 different builds that somehow, and with pretty much every of these builds you can somehow play versus another, so it's pretty good in my opinion.
All right, and last but not least, I know that I've seen you at WCS, but it's kind of rare to see you at these events. So first of all, it's really cool that we can see you here at the Legacy of the Void tournament here at DreamHack. And second of all, I know that you're still a high school student because you're very young. I think you told me that you're soon turning 18, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so in the 11th December, I will be 18. So.
All right, so your birthday's coming up soon, so early happy birthday to you. But what is it like being a full-time student as well as playing games? I know that you said that you had to miss school to come here.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I already have, like, when I'm going to school, some people recognize me. So I'm like, oh, you're a full-time player. Usually everyone watches CSGO, but there's some people who are watching StarCraft, and they are cheering for me right now even. So, I mean, thank you for cheering. And
well, I'm really happy to see you here, and I hope that you continue to do well. And so we'll see how the rest of your group pans out. But for now, we are going to head to a commercial break. But when we come back, we will wrap up Group A with Parting versus Huck.